Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our English for Academic Purposes course. Today, we're going to discuss text structure, outlines, and we're going to discuss word formation. So let's go ahead and get started.
Let's go ahead and begin with this week's English for Academic Purposes lesson. So we've been talking about academic essay writing, and we said that our writing needs to have structure. It's not just a collection of random thoughts or random sentences. We have to organize our writing in a particular way. Remember, we're communicating an argument, which is our thesis statement, to our reader, and our essay is organized in a way to support that argument. Think of reading in the same way. We're reading another writer's work, and that writing is organized in a particular way. So when we're reading a certain text, we need to look for how that text is structured, and that can help us understand what it is the author is trying to communicate to us. Authors can structure text several different ways. They can be supporting an opinion or an argument. They could be comparing and contrasting. They could be stating a problem and potential solutions. They could be posing a question or questions and answering those questions, or they could be presenting two opposing viewpoints. So let's take a look at an example here. Okay, so this essay is organized around a question and an answer. Okay, so we need to think about what question the author is asking us and how the author is answering that question. So let's go ahead and go through our first paragraph, and we're going to figure out what this author is trying to do in that first paragraph. What makes a good teacher? This question has intrigued educators, students, and parents alike for generations. The qualities that define an exceptional teacher are multifaceted and extend beyond just delivering information. In exploring this question, we will delve into some key attributes that contribute to the greatness of a teacher. So I can see that the author clearly has a thesis statement. They're going to explore the question of what makes a great teacher. So I can see that this essay is in fact organized around a question and an answer, as we just said. And that first paragraph is where the author asks the question. So if I want to create an outline, I'm going to go through and I'm going to talk about the main points and the function of each of these paragraphs. So I've got my outline organized into 5 separate boxes for each paragraph. And in this second column here, I'm going to talk about the function of each paragraph. And in the final column here, I'm going to include some key details. So the question is posed in the first paragraph, and that question is, what makes a good teacher? And in paragraphs 2, 3, 4, and 5, the author is answering that question. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at what those answers are. Okay, so here the author says one fundamental quality is passion. The second is adaptability. The third is communication skills. And finally, it's empathy. Now, if I explore each of those paragraphs in detail, I'll find some supporting details or key details that give me more information about each one of those qualities. Okay, and I can add that in to my outline. So I've got those 4 main characteristics that we talked about. And underneath, I've got some bullet points that speak to some key details related to each of those main points. So that's a really effective way to outline this text. And we're going to talk about summaries in our next lesson. And when we summarize the text, sometimes creating an effective outline at first can really help us to write an effective summary. So let's take a look at this essay. This is an essay on gun violence. And I want to know how this essay is structured so I can figure out how I can best outline this text. Let's go through our introduction and see if I get any clues. There should be no more senseless deaths. No country on earth has more deaths from gun violence than the United States of America. In recent years, there's been tremendous debate surrounding how to best solve this problem. However, the solution is clear. In order to reduce the number of deaths from gun violence, America must pass laws that limit access to guns for private citizens. It seems to me that this essay is clearly structured as a problem and a solution essay. So in the first paragraph, the author presents the problem and a potential solution. Now, what is the function of paragraphs 2 through 5? You can pause your video and go ahead and read through that essay, and then I will pick up with the answers. Okay, welcome back. Let's go ahead and go over this. So in paragraph 1, the author introduces a problem and suggests a solution. In the second paragraph, the author describes the problem. He tells us that the US has more guns and more violent crime and more death than other industrialized nations. In paragraph 3, the author describes the solution. America has to limit the number of guns available to private citizens. And in paragraph 4, he talks about the benefits of the solution. And those include fewer suicides and fewer police deaths. In paragraph 5, the author summarizes and restates the problem and the solution. There are too many gun-related deaths in America, and lawmakers should limit private access to firearms. So let's do one more together. Okay, how is this essay organized? Let's take a look at our introduction. Aristotle said, education is the best provision for life's journey. This journey begins for young people in primary school and continues through secondary school, which is middle school and high school. It's important to understand the similarities and differences between students' primary and secondary school experience. While there are some similarities, they're mostly very different. So here the author is talking about similarities and differences. This is a compare and contrast essay or a comparative essay. So in the first paragraph, the author is introducing the two things that are being compared. And in the fourth paragraph, there's a summary and a restatement of the thesis. Let's go back and see what the author does in paragraph 2 and paragraph 3. Well, when I look at paragraph 2 here, the author says, primary school and secondary school share some similarities. So he's talking in this second paragraph about the similarities between these two things. In the third paragraph, he says, despite these similarities, there are some very important differences. So in this paragraph, the author is focusing on differences. Okay, so when I go back and I read through those paragraphs, and if you want to, you can pause your video and read through that, you'll find key details related to the similarities and the differences. So let's put this into our outline. Okay, so we're talking about the two things being compared, primary school and secondary school, and the author's thesis is that they're mostly different. I've got my summary and my restatement. There's my restatement of the thesis, and I've got a concluding thought as to why this is important. In the second paragraph, we discussed similarities. Students have lessons, they have homework, they have tests, and they spend time with friends. But there are also differences. The length of time in school, the focus on academics, and the dress code. Okay, so now let's move into the section of our lesson on word formation. So last week we talked about suffixes that change verbs to nouns. This is called nominalization. And words that end in ment, ion, al, ance are often verb nominalizations. They change these verbs to nouns. So for example, the verb to excite becomes a noun, excitement, when I add ment. However, a verb doesn't necessarily need to change form to function as a noun. Some verbs can function either as verbs or nouns. Let's take a look at that. These words here: debate, study, change, review, hope, balance, and harm. All of these words can function as verbs or nouns. Let's take a look. Two candidates will have a debate tonight. Whenever I see an article in front of that word, I know that it's a noun. Tom will debate Sarah in history class. I know that that's a verb. Here, this is the future tense, the simple future tense. I need to study for my English test. Jen conducted a study on learning English. So I've got a verb and then a study. It's being used as a noun. It's time for a change in my life. That's a noun. Education can change your life. Here, this is a verb, and I got that modal verb, can, in front of it that serves as a clue. Review. His conduct is being reviewed. Okay, so here, this is functioning as a verb. His conduct is under review. That's functioning as a noun. Hope. My hope is that you all get a great education. Okay, that's functioning as a noun. I hope you get a great education. In that case, the word hope is a verb. So let's focus on balance and harm. I want you to pause the video and try to create two sentences, one with balance and one with harm, and then tell me if it's being used as a verb or as a noun. Okay, so I used the word balance to say I am losing my balance, and that is a noun. And for the word harm, I'll say, I hope the storm does not harm anyone. That's being used as a verb. Okay, so let's rewrite each of the following sentences by changing the underlying verb to a noun. This report analyzes the climate change problem. So I would encourage you to pause your video and go through and practice each of these sentences. I'm now going to give you my answers. Instead of saying this report analyzes the climate change problems, I would say this report provides an analysis of the climate change problems. The boss did not explain his decision. The boss did not provide an explanation for his decision. The class debated the gun control issue. The class had a debate on the issue of gun control. We are reviewing the team's sales targets. The team sales targets are under review, or a review is being conducted of the team's sales targets. The cause of the virus will be studied by researchers. A study is being conducted by researchers on the cause of the virus. I need to change my career plans. My career plans need a change. The actors performed well in the play. The actors put on a great performance in the play. The head of school is assessing teachers' performance. The head of school is conducting an assessment of teachers' performance. The police investigated the robbery. The police are conducting an investigation of the robbery. This sentence illustrates the writer's wonderful use of imagery. This sentence provides an illustration of the writer's wonderful use of imagery. So let's talk a little bit about inflected verbs. So here I have the verb walk, which is a regular verb. In the present tense, it's simply walk. In the third person singular, I have to add that S for he, she, or it. The simple past is walked. The past participle is also walked. And the present participle is walking. That's a regular verb. Speak is an irregular verb. The present tense is speak, and the third person singular is speaks in the simple present. It's irregular in the simple past. It's spoke. The past participle is also irregular. It's spoken. And the present participle is speaking. So let's go ahead and complete this story with the correct form of the word. Tom was walking down the street yesterday when he noticed something strange. There was a puppy with no owner. Tom had seen the little dog before. He thought, I can help. So he did. Tom took the little dog home. Let's hope his mother likes the new dog as much as Tom. Okay, so you can copy down those answers and you can practice on your own. All right, so I want you to think about everything that we've been talking about in our lessons up to this point. Throughout all of our English for Academic Purposes courses, we've been talking about knowledge construction, making meaning from academic text, and using the knowledge that we glean from that text to construct knowledge in our own writing. And we're going to talk more about academic writing in our next lesson. So congratulations, you guys are all involved in the process of knowledge construction. You guys did a great job. In our next lesson, we're going to discuss summary writing. So please remember to like, subscribe, and comment on the video, and I will see you in our next lesson at the English Language Arts Gallery. Bye.